Good morning, good afternoon, good evening, ladies and gentlemen, wherever you're situated on this great, big, beautiful blue globe floating for the void of Yah's creation. It's Thursday, the 29th of January, 2026. Yeah, man, it's hitting the fan to the right, to the left, to the up, to the down, to the front and the back, and the media's just gaslighting everybody. Guess what, media?
You won't be trusted anymore.
All right, welcome to the Thursday edition of the WTF Reports. I am your host, Dave vonKleist, and I'm here, WTF, with the facts. And if those facts make you exclaim, WTF, well, then so be it. But just keep in mind, folks, you know, I don't think I'm stupid. I don't think I'm crazy. And I know I don't lie. Now, I might not have it right all the time, but I do my best to do so. And if I find that I'm wrong about something, I will correct it as soon as possible. So, and we all have to have that attitude because there's so much misinformation, so much propaganda being thrown out there. And now with the advent of AI, there are so many fake videos being put out there and fake audio being put out there. You have to be super, super diligent to weed through it. And it's not hard to get snookered once in a while. And it does happen. But I'm going to do my best here not to fall into that trap. But anyway, and right off the bat, you know, I've had, you know, I interact with a lot of people. And it seems to me, and I would ask you to search your particular social circle and ask yourself this question. Are a lot of people that you know going through some difficult times? I mean, if they're facing health issues, or maybe their employment issue is bad, or maybe their living situation is bad, or maybe their relationship is bad with their spouse or their significant other, or maybe there's family issues, you know, and there's a lot of people that are going through so much stuff right now. And it's tough because, you know, you try to console certain people and almost, you know, they're inconsolable. They see all these problems and they don't see any solutions. Now, do you see the same thing that I'm seeing? I'm serious. I mean, do you know a lot of people who are in one way or another hurting right now? Because I see it. I see it, you know, I'm not saying everybody, but I'm seeing the overwhelming majority of people that I'm interacting with are facing some sort of challenges. And yes, you know, so what do you do? Well, a long time ago, somebody told me, so one thing that you can do is take a piece of paper and draw a line down the middle. And then on one side, write down all the things that you feel that are your attributes, your strong points, your blessings. And on the other side, write down the stuff that are your challenges, okay, the things that are giving you, unrest. And I think that overwhelmingly, if you're honest with yourself, you will find that you have more blessings than you do curses, if you will. I don't want to call them curses, but challenges. And I want to give some people hope because there is a light, okay? But we just have to be willing to see it. Now, the thing is, as far as our blessings are concerned, we become accustomed to them. You know, if you've got a loving family, if you've got kids or you've got grandkids, nieces, nephews, cousins, what have you, you have a support group. I mean, that's a major, major blessing. So write that down, okay? And as you go through your own, you know, search your heart, be honest with yourself, and write down the things that you know are good. And then go to the other side of the page and write down the problems that you've got. I think you'll find that your blessings will outweigh the problems by far. So I want to give you some hope on that because there's a lot of good things that are out there. And as I was saying, you know, you become accustomed to your blessings. You don't really see them that much because they're all around you. You do focus in on the negative, and those are the things that are in the front of your mind. So this is what's bringing you down. So what I'm trying to bring to the surface here is that so many of you out there have so many things to be grateful for, so many blessings out there. And I'm not trying to be spiritual or religious or anything like that. I'm just calling it as it is. And I'm just trying to give all the folks out there that are feeling the weight of the world on their shoulders right now, understand that, you know, you've got so much going for you than you do, you know, so much more going for you than you do going against you. And if you focus on those things that are negative, that are going against you, then that's where your head's going to be at. So, yeah, put things into perspective. Understand that we all have, good things happening in our lives, and yes, we all have some crap that we have to deal with. So I just wanted to bring that to your attention because there's so many people out there that are involved in hand-wringing and looking at all the bad crap that's going on in the world, and there's plenty of that. There's plenty of that. But the point is that if we focus on the positive, if we accentuate the positive, what's that song that Bing Crosby did? You've got to accentuate the positive and eliminate the negative, something like that. I forget the name of the song. But there's a lot of truth in that. And I wanted to, throw that out there and give you folks a little bit of perspective because we all have blessings. We all have gifts and we take them for granted. We overlook them. So, I just wanted to throw that out there. So, hopefully you'll take it to heart and, try that little exercise. Take that piece of paper and write a line down the middle of it and give it a shot. I think you'll find that you have much more to be thankful and grateful for than to be sad about. So I just wanted to throw that out there. It's kind of important, especially in these very difficult times. And we all, regular listeners to this broadcast and others, we see all the crap hitting the air circulator out there, and it really has a tendency to bring you down and put your head in a place where it just isn't healthy. And we all succumb to that. I was feeling kind of blue last week myself. I look at some of the, fecal matter that I've had to deal with. And there's been plenty of that, but I'm still standing, and I look at some of the people out there that were on top of the world, and unfortunately, they fell. So, I don't know, maybe it's karma, I don't know what you want to call it, but if you stay in the light, then, you're going to have a much better attitude. So anyway, I don't mean to get all philosophical on you and all that, but, like I said, I just couldn't help but notice, what so many people are going through right now. And there's so much fear and animosity and anger, et cetera, et cetera. And not that it's not well-founded. We got plenty to be pissed off about. I'm pretty pissed off about what's going on in the world right now, too. But I can't help but think that one way or the other, if the good people will focus on the positive, and if the good people will move in that direction, I can't help but believe, light always defeats darkness. Always. Okay? And good always defeats evil. They say that there can be a million lies, but there's only one truth. Well, focus on that light of truth. So, anyway, I don't mean to get all philosophical on you, but there's a hunger out there. People are sick to death of the propaganda and the gaslighting and the subterfuge and all the other crap that's out there. And there's plenty of it. And we're just going to have to be diligent. And like I was saying, we have to be careful because there's so many lies being put out there. And this is drawn to my attention because of the fact that there are so many AI videos that are being put out there. And unfortunately, people don't think about it. They just take it take it as gospel. And you're being lied to. And we have been lied to for generations at this point. And that's why I've been screaming about this for over 3 decades. You won't be trusted anymore. That's the theme song that will begin and the end of every show. We've been lied to by the people sometimes we trust the most. So anyway, I didn't mean to get off on my soapbox so early, but it's kind of important. Because unless we focus in on the positive, then we will be consumed by the negative. All right, that said, I'm going to pick up on a couple of things I was discussing yesterday. A lot of people, there is an exodus from TikTok right now. There are people, by the millions that are deleting TikTok because it's been taken over by Larry Ellison and Oracle. And yes, there is influence from a foreign country, which I'm not going to mention. As a matter of fact, that on TikTok, there are certain words that you can't say. You will, they won't post it. As a matter of fact, some folks have been drawing attention to the fact that you can't use the word Epstein. Yeah, you can't even say that. I mean, the censorship is over the top, pinned out on TikTok right now. And this is why people are deleting TikTok all over the place, and they are running to the new platform, Upscrolled. And the gentleman who put that together, he's a Palestinian. And they started this off several months ago. I guess it was last fall. I'm not quite sure when he put the platform up there. But all of a sudden, it has exploded. And people are going there in droves. Here's a statement from Issam Hajese. Hajese, I think that's how his last name is. He's a Palestinian. He's the one who put this platform together. And I could understand why he did, because there is another group of individuals out there, and I know you know what I'm talking about, and they are controlling and directing everything. And anyway, here's a statement that he just put out, thanking for all of the millions of people who have jumped on board with Upscrolled. Listen to this.
Hey everyone, Issam Hijazi here, the founder of Upscrolled. Hopping on here to say a massive thank you. Thank you for being part of this community and for making Upscrolled what it is. It is absolutely my honor to share with you that we've just hit over 1 million users. I wanted to first take a moment to say thank you from the bottom of my heart, because this is simply incredible. Our community is growing at a pace I only could have dreamt of. Which, talking of dreams, as you can imagine, I haven't had much sleep over the last 72 hours. I do understand there's a lot of curiosity about who I am and why I created this app, so I just wanted to make this video for that. My name is Issam. I was born in Jordan, but my family is originally from Palestine, from a city called Safad. My grandparents were forced to flee their home back in 1948, just like many Palestinians, and they settled in Amman, where I was born. I've since lived across the globe and eventually ended up in Australia, where I also became an Australian citizen. Since the end of 2023, things have completely changed for me and for my family. I lost so many family members in Gaza, and I watched firsthand as meaningful stories disappeared from feeds, while harmful misinformation thrived, propelling and manufacturing consent for the genocide. And I knew I couldn't stand idly by. So I, like many others in the community, left Big Tech and back in November 2023 began working on this alternative platform, Upscrolled. People told me I was crazy. I mean, you're trying to compete with Big Tech. Hell, I thought I was too. But this wasn't about competing for me. It was about building something for the people, a platform where every voice is free and equal. I created Upscrolled for all of us, for those who are tired of being shadow banned, for people who don't want their personal data to be shared or sold without their consent, for users who don't want to be surveilled by corporations who say one thing publicly and do another thing privately.
Oh, really?
We launched last year in June. We grew steadily through word of mouth as more and more people moved to our platform, in rejection of Big Tech's practices. And as of last week, with everything that's happening on TikTok, we grew way more than I have ever imagined.
I got to pause it for a second. He said, what happened last week with TikTok? Well, that's because Larry Ellison took it over. And all of a sudden, this isn't Elon Musk's TikTok anymore. The shots are being called by someone who has an agenda. And, I'm sorry, TikTok, I was saying Elon Musk. No. Well, X is being manipulated as well now. So anyway, we'll continue on with his statement.
We went from 150,000 users to hitting over 1 million users in less than a few days. And the crazy part, we did not run any ads. We did not pay influencers. We did not manufacture any of this. You did this. Every download, every share, every conversation you started about why freedom of speech matters for everyone, not selectively. And I'm honestly so overwhelmed that you're here. And I'm also grateful to everyone for bearing with us as we grow. We're a very small, tiny team. But we have a lot planned for 2026. And we want to bring you into shaping it. We're just getting started here. We're working hard to be worthy of your trust you've placed in us. Everything from transparency, new features that you like in the app, faster responses from real human beings, a platform that just keeps getting better, because that's honestly what you deserve. Upscrolled is yours. We're just building it. Thank you.
Wow. Okay. How humble is that? Again, the gentleman's name is Assam Hajzi. I hope I'm pronouncing that right. But like I said, there's an exodus from TikTok. People are deleting TikTok all over the place. And by the way, I'm usually on my laptop, so I tried to install Upscrolled on my laptop, and it says it's not compatible with this device. I said, But no, it's designed, I guess, for your tablets and for your cell phones. So I don't know, maybe they'll upgrade it and be able to make it available for laptop computers as well. So we'll just have to see how this grows. But I applaud Hasim for, Hijaz, no, Zazi. I can't pronounce his name, and I apologize. But anyway, I appreciate his effort tremendously, because more and more people are starting to realize that there is foreign influence in our media. And I'm trying to think of an analogy. Let's say that you worked at a big firm, a big company, and there were 1,000 employees there. And you've got your president, your CEO, and you've got your board members, and you've got your managers, and you've got your supervisors, and then you've got your little teams that are all through there. So out of 1,000 employees, let's say that there are 20 of them, and those 20, they happen to have some deep pockets. And they approach the CEO and the president and board members and stuff like that, and they start to influence them in such a way that these 20 employees get special privileges, and they get to have their own offices and their own dining room, et cetera, and all the rest of the employees are saying, hey, wait a second, how come that particular group is being treated better than we are? And over a period of time, the president and the CEO and all the board members and all the managers and all the supervisors, et cetera, they are all being, shall we say, influenced one way or the other, and whether it be one of those three magic words that happens to do it:
bribery, coercion, blackmail.
Maybe one of those three words apply to the influence that these 20 people have on the 1,000 people who work there. Now, is this describing even a little bit about what's going on in our country here? How is it that 2% of a population is determining the fate of the remaining 98%? And anyway, I didn't mention any particular individual group, but just apply that to what's going on in this country and indeed in the rest of the world. And I think you'll figure out what's going on. And there's something wrong with that. Wouldn't you agree? And as far as the policies that are in this company or business or whatever, what if those policies are being, shall we say, influenced by these 20 people? Anyway, I just wanted to throw that out there. It's a what if. I'm not saying that this is reality. I'm just saying what if. What if? Anyway, let me see. There's a couple other things that I wanted to get to here. And by the way, I'll open up the phones too. If I'm just blowing smoke here, let me know. If I'm full of horse hockey, let me know. 215-867-8255. That's the phone number here. So anyway, a bunch of other stuff that I wanted to get to. Let me see. Which one is where do I go next? There's several different topics here. I don't know. There's certain things I have to be careful about. I've gotten several marks on my account and YouTube because I say certain things that they don't like. And again, this is why I applaud Upscrolled. I haven't had time to mess with it too much. I downloaded it onto my phone, but I haven't had time to do anything with it. But I'm going to start exploring that. And again, if anybody out there, I'd be curious to know, is there anybody out there listening right now that has downloaded Upscrolled and has been messing with it? I'd like to know what your experience with Upscrolled is like. So if you haven't done so, well, that's okay. But if you have, I'd like to hear from you. 215-867-8255. Okay, let me see. There was something I wanted to get into because a lot of people are noticing that there is a real problem in this country with here we go again, the illegal immigrants that are in here. And, some people, they don't want to call them, they don't want to call them immigrants anymore. They're playing with the words. Yep, they're playing with the words. Now they're being called, I'm sorry, they're being called refugees. They're being called refugees. Well, we're not, the United States is not completely blameless in this. I mean, we have, for decades and decades and decades, we have been, and even George Carlin pointed this out years ago, the United States, along with the assistance of another Middle Eastern country, we've been bombing the snake snot out of brown people over there. We've been creating the problem. We send money over to this other country, and then they go out and they bomb other countries, and we create all these refugees, okay? Well, yeah, and if you stop and think about it, seriously, folks, people in the Middle East, whether it be Jordan or wherever, I can't even think of all the Middle Eastern countries off the top of my head, but we've been bombing the crap out of these people for generations. That's all that they know. That's the only life that they know, is dodging bombs and missiles and watching their family members get blown to pieces. That's what their point of reference is. No wonder that when they do come into this country, how are they supposed to assimilate? How are they supposed to understand the American way of life? They can't. They just can't. That's not their reference point. So we shouldn't be surprised that when all of these immigrants or refugees, I suppose on one hand you could call them refugees, but there are a lot of immigrants that come in that have not suffered from that. But the point is that this is all that they know. And so we can't expect them to come into this country and assimilate. No, that's a pipe dream. But there is something called the color revolution. And the color revolution is happening right in our faces. Right in our faces, right under our noses. Okay, here's a little bit of an explanation as to what a color revolution is.
Now probably heard political experts over and over refer to the fact that what we're witnessing is a color revolution. And they're right. And let me explain why. A color revolution is a communist globalist playbook to take over a country without tanks actually rolling down Main Street. It's how they flipped places like Serbia, Georgia, Ukraine, and they tried to flip a dozen others. The same exact playbook every single time. This is how they do it. 1, they demonize the leader of the people who they actually voted for. 2, they flood the country with chaos like riots, open borders, economic pain. 3, they weaponize the courts, the media, and big tech to finish him off. And 4, they install a puppet who sells the country out to China and the UN. And that's not theory, that's the manual. They opened it on us in the United States the day Donald Trump won in 2016. And here's how they ran it on us step by step. From 2016 to 2020, they gave us the Russia collusion hoax, FBI spying, 2 fake impeachments, Antifa burning cities while CNN called it fiery but mostly peaceful, and the goal was to make you hate the guy you voted for. In 2020, we had 2 a.m. ballot dumps, boarded up windows, 51 Intel agents lying about Hunter's laptop, Zuckerberg dropping $400 million to help count votes in Democrat cities. And the goal there was to steal the election while calling you a conspiracy theorist for noticing. From 2021 to 2024, we had Joe Biden opening the border on day 1, 12 million plus illegals, military-age men from China and Venezuela and all over the world, free flights, free hotels, free EBT cards, all on your dime. Cities collapse, crime explodes, schools and hospitals break. The goal, to make Americans feel like strangers in their own country. Then from 2021 to 2025, 91 felony charges, Mar-a-Lago raided, gag orders, mug shots. They didn't want to just beat Trump. They wanted to break him and every future patriot who dares to run. Look at what they did to Charlie Kirk. That is a textbook color revolution. But on November 5th, 2024, the American people looked this Marxist coup dead in the eye and said, not today. 312 electoral votes, popular vote landslide, the biggest Hispanic and Black Republican turnout ever. We pulled off the greatest peaceful counter-revolution in world history. But the deep state isn't done. The same snakes who funded BLM riots, Ukraine coup, and Arab Spring still sit in the FBI, CIA, big tech, and the universities. They'll try again in 2026 or in 2028, but now you know the game. Every time you see another mostly peaceful riot, sudden experts all using the same scripted words, a new crisis 2 weeks before an election, you're watching the Color Revolution playbook live on American soil. Never forget what they tried to do to us. Back mass deportations. If we have no border, we have no country. Protect every America First fighter willing to swing the axe on the swamp. Teach your kids the truth. Communism didn't die in 1991. It just died a tear purple and moved to Washington. This is still the United States of America. We are still the home of the brave, and the brave do not bow to color revolutions. Recognize what is happening, stare it in the face, speak out against it, and then we finish taking our country back, one closed border, one drained swamp, and one restored republic at a time. We need to support our president in taking all necessary measures to do just that. God bless you, and God bless the United States of America.
Wow. What a statement, huh? I love that. She says communism didn't die in 1991 when the wall came down in Berlin. No, they dyed their hair blue and moved to the U.S. Oh, my word. That's amazing. Yeah. So that's what's going on right now. There is a color revolution going on, and we have to recognize it as such. And no, I am not for a police state. Now, I know, Cynthia, you're out there listening, and I don't condone that at all. But I don't know what the solution is right now. We are dealing with an unprecedented situation. You know, under the Biden-Harris administration, with the help of Alejandro Mayorkas, they opened up the border and let tens of millions of illegal immigrants into this country, unvetted. You know, I mean, we went through the whole COVID thing, and nobody was being tested. Not just for COVID, but how about for tuberculosis or any other contagious disease? They just opened up the borders and they just flooded our country with illegal immigrants. Many of them, and I heard it on mainstream radio last night. I tuned in, the power went out, so I got my AM radio and I was dialing around, and there was a conversation going on about this exact topic, about how the borders got opened and how tens of thousands, if not hundreds of thousands of military-age males came across by themselves. They didn't bring their families. No wife and kids to come along. No, they come all by themselves, many of them from China. And again, this was being discussed on mainstream talk radio last night. Yeah, many of them are military-age males from China. And you don't get out of China unless they let you out. And I've said on this broadcast numerous times that I have no doubt whatsoever that a lot of these immigrants have places to go to. They're given, a city, a state, an address. You go there, you'll be cared for. You'll be housed, you'll be fed, you'll be given your mission, you'll be equipped, you'll be briefed and debriefed, and then when they say go, you'll go. And keep in mind that these people have no clue as to what it is to live the American dream. They didn't come here for that. No. Now, there is a mixture of, yes, refugees. I mean, after all, like I said a few minutes ago, we've been bombing the snake's knot out of a lot of these countries, and they have no place else to go. But believe me, they know who bombed them. They know exactly who bombed them. And they know exactly who supplied the bombs. So they're not real happy with our country. They didn't come here to contribute. They didn't come here to build the American dream. A lot of them here are here because they want revenge. I'm sorry, that's just the way I see it. I could be wrong. I've been wrong before, but I mean, this is just common sense in my mind. So the bottom line here is, yes, we have a big problem. And thank you to the blue-haired liberals that are out there that are saying, oh, they just want a better life. They want to live the American. Sit down and shut up. Slap yourself. Wake up. So we do have a real problem, unprecedented. And yes, as much as I do not condone brutality, from police brutality or ICE brutality, I don't. But the bottom line here is that these hostiles, and they are hostiles, they have to be removed. And they're not going to stand up and raise their hand and say, here I am, take me out. No, they're not going to do that. They're doing their very best to hide and to assimilate and to, just blend in. So yeah, ICE has a huge, nearly impossible task before them, especially when you've got these retards out there trying to support them and hide them. Nobody wants to talk about all of the innocent women and children who have been raped and beaten and murdered. They don't talk about that. Oh, they'll talk about George Floyd, or they'll talk about Renee Good. They'll talk about this and put this out there in the mainstream media to stir people up. And this is why I have nothing but contempt for the mainstream media for doing that. And I'm not surprised. Not at all. Because that's what they do. Why? Because of that 2%. Yeah, that's what it is. It comes back to that 2%. And I'm sorry if that offends somebody, but that's just the way it is. Okay. Speaking of color revolution, do you know what's going on in Spain? Yeah. And it was on the front page. Let me see if I can find it again. Yeah, here it is. It was reported in the Telegraph. And this, the headline says, Spain gives 500,000 migrants legal status to defeat the far right. They did that in Spain. They basically gave 500,000 illegal migrants. They gave them legal status so that they can participate in the democratic system over there in Spain. Is that what's going on over here? Hello? Wake up! America! Hello? Anybody home? Yeah. They just legalized 500,000 illegal immigrants to defeat the far right. And they're doing it in the open. By legalizing all these illegals under the guise of defeating the far right, Pedro Sanchez is essentially dropping the mask. This is electoral engineering. The logic is simple. Legalize 500,000 people, fast-track them to citizenship, which takes as little as 2 years for many, and you've effectively imported a massive, loyal voting bloc that's indebted to the left. Now, let's see. That's what's going on in Spain. Could it be happening here? That's madness. That is absolute madness. Hey, could that be the Calgary plan? Could it be the Calgary plan? By the way, if you do a Google search on Calgary plan, they'll tell you, oh, it's a conspiracy theory. No, that ain't right. No, that would never happen. They would never do that. How about the Cloward-Piven directive? They would never. That's all conspiracy theory. Yeah, if you haven't looked up the Cloward-Piven plan, go check it out. I mean, this stuff is happening right under our noses. Right in our face, folks. But unfortunately, most people just don't want to hear it. No. I'm sorry. Hey, Super Bowl's coming. Patriots. Seahawks. I'm going to strip half naked, paint my body two-tone colors, and go out there and stand in the snow and scream at the top of my lungs, that'll fix America. Yay! Woohoo! This is unfortunately where we're at in this country. And I'm sorry. I really am. I don't mean to be berating all these people out there that, they genuinely love to enjoy their sport. And I'll be honest with you, I enjoy watching a good game. For years, I was a Red Sox fan. I still enjoy watching a good game, a baseball game. I'm not so much into the basketball or hockey. I used to be into the basketball. And I don't really follow the, football all that much. But yeah, it's escapism. It's entertainment. But we have to keep that in perspective. You stop and think about the American public. How does the typical American live their life? They wake up in the morning, and the first thing they do is they turn on the radio or the TV or something like that, their entertainment, or their news or what have you. And then you go about your business getting ready for work, and you get, brush your teeth and get dressed and blah, 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 have your coffee, and then go off to work. And on your way to work, you got the radio on. And either you're listening to the news or listening to music or what have you. You're being entertained. Your mind is being distracted. And then you get to work, and a lot of people have the radio on at work, and they listen to music. I mean, for years, I worked as a carpenter. I was doing construction work and all different phases. I did framing, I did roofing, siding, sheetrock, trim work, and all this. Every single time, no matter which crew I was with, somebody had a radio on, listening to music. We entertain ourselves, we distract ourselves, and unfortunately, we develop a taste for that. And so when somebody turns on, the news or starts discussing important, topics. I mean, this is one of the reasons why you hear it all the time, polite discussion doesn't include religion or politics. Well, doesn't that guarantee intellectual stagnation? What makes the world go round? Religion and politics, spiritual belief and political belief. But if you're not, if it's not polite conversation, if it's not something you talk about, I mean, I go hang out at the VFW. I like to go out and shoot a couple of games of pool. And it's well known that, you just don't talk about religion and politics. I mean, I've been in situations where something comes up where we start talking about one of those two topics and somebody says, hey, you can't talk about that. Well, why the heck not? I mean, turn the clock back several hundred years before we had radio, before we had television, before you even had a printing press. How did news get around, your country, in the different towns or villages or cities, in the kingdoms? How did the words get around? It was word of mouth, people sitting at the pub, tipping a few pints and talking about the kingdom or what have you. That's how people learned stuff. And how did the message get around the kingdom? It was the entertainers. It was the musicians, the puppeteers, the jesters. And I don't know. Well, that's just history. That's just the way it was. But unfortunately now we've evolved into a civilization that shuns discussions on those topics. And like I said, that just guarantees intellectual stagnation. But let me see. The Cloward-Piven Directive is something that I would highly encourage that you do a search and read up on it. And there was an interview done years ago with, what was her name? Frances Fox Piven and Richard Cloward. Now, I just happen to have this video clip, and this is the two of them being interviewed. Here's what they had to say.
Was developed by Richard Cloward and Frances Piven in the 1960s. It outlines a strategy for radical social change by way of abusing the system to the point of destruction.
We were associated with the social work tradition, which said that the programs worked as they were supposed to work. But they didn't work as they were supposed to work. And it was out of that realization, that insight, that we developed the strategy to end poverty, which called for a massive mobilization of social workers and lawyers and organizers to get people the benefits to which they were entitled. We were proposing a kind of movement that demanded what people were already entitled to by law, by regulation, by propaganda.
The primary goal of the Cloward-Piven strategy is to create a political and economic crisis that would destroy capitalism and lead to the implementation of a socialist system with a guaranteed income. The strategy involves enrolling large numbers of people into the welfare system.
Okay, I'm going to pause it. Now listen carefully to what's being said here, because this is exactly what's going on right here in the United States.
As many people as it takes to overwhelm and strain the system until it collapses. Everyone enrolled into the welfare system is also used as an army to carry out the destruction of the current system.
Bingo.
They are registered to vote and instructed on how to vote. They are organized and mobilized and made to appear as grassroots organizations demanding more from the system.
Okay, I'm going to pause it again. Now, again, if you do a search on this, and you do a Google search or whatever, use whatever search engine you want, but you will find that they will say that the Cloward-Piven Directive is a conspiracy theory. They're lying to you. It's happening right under your nose. It's not a conspiracy theory when it's actually happening.
The ideal outcome of the Cloward-Piven strategy is to collapse the current system. According to their theory, this will compel the government to implement a universal basic income, which would then shift the U.S. towards a more socialist system.
Okay, a universal income. Where have we heard that before? That's actually being discussed. It's under your noses.
With increased government control over the economy, everyone is being encouraged to do it. Burn it down is the new sexy ring. In high school, they compare it to the American Revolution.
The Cloward-Piven strategy is a political gambit designed to overwhelm the American government by placing so many demands on the bureaucratic structure that it collapses.
Okay, I'm going to pause it again. With all these illegal immigrants coming in, and you stop and think about it, they've got debit cards, they're given cash stipends, they're given free housing, they're given, SNAP benefits, welfare benefits, Social Security numbers. And meanwhile, you've got veterans who are living in the streets. What is wrong with this picture? And why, for the love of God, aren't more people standing up against this? And why, for the love of God, can the blue-haired liberals even think about standing up for this? Well, maybe it's because they're being paid to do that.
It's sort of a shock and awe campaign, a surprise attack on entrenched systems meant to force major changes to the ways that things are handled by the government. It may be messy, but it does harken back to a fundamental ideology of the American Republic. If it ain't fixed, break it.
All of this explains the likes of AOC.
What people like AOC are doing, what the squad is doing, is really very important, very important. But at the same time, there is this movement which is so big. Some people say it's the biggest movement in American history. It's hard to know because it's hard to measure a movement, but it is big and it is interracial and it penetrates into every small town. I now am in upstate New York. The town I'm closest to has maybe 2,000 people. We have little demonstrations in front of the post office for Black Lives Matter. And this is Trump country. Nevertheless, there is a Black Lives Matter demonstration. So it's a very potent and important moment in American political development. And we have to make the most of it.
Whoa.
Because if we don't know what's going to happen, but it's not going to be good.
And again, that's the voice of Frances Fox Piven. Now, I don't know when this particular audio clip was put together. I mean, I'm looking at the original video clip, and this was, that would have to be maybe 30 years ago. I mean, considering how she had really dark hair, et cetera, et cetera. But this video clip that I'm watching right now, this is obviously done more recently because she's much older and she has white hair. But she's basically spelling out exactly what's going on in this country right flaming now. It's, like I said, it's right in our faces. So we've got the Cloward-Piven Directive, which, of course, we're being told is a conspiracy theory, but hey, it's right under our noses. And then there's the issue about the Calgary plan. I'm sorry, the Kalergi plan. I mispronounced that. Just a quick history lesson on that. Richard von Kalergi, he founded the EU, the European Union, and he wrote the Kalergi Plan, which aims to make unique races and cultures extinct. Look what's going on in Europe right now. Ooh, the European cultures, no matter what country, Germany or France or Spain, Belgium, all of the European countries are being flooded right now with unique races. And it's in doing so, it's destroying the European cultures. Now, the Warburgs, the Berlucks, the Rothschilds are some of the banking cartels responsible for the funding of the Kalergis' genocidal ideology. And you can research that on Google. Look up Rothschild banking history. It's in there. The UN and the EU execute the plan, calling it replacement migration. The UN Migration Pact also criminalizes criticism of immigration as hate speech. Wow, where have we heard that before? Oh, yeah, if you don't like all the immigrants coming in, you're a racist! Racist! You're a Nazi! Eventually, this plan is going to target every nation on earth. So unless we wake up and understand what these plans or these directives are all about, we're going to lose our country. So again, all you folks out there that are sports fans and everything, yeah, I applaud your support for your favorite team and everything, but put things into perspective. It's entertainment. Entertainment is what you do when you've taken care of business. You have to be responsible. Take care of your family. Take care of your job. Do your chores. Do all the stuff that you're supposed to do, and then worry about your entertainment. But unfortunately, entertainment has taken a front seat. And that's one of the problems with the American public right now. This is why we say so many Americans have their head buried in the sand. God help you if you try to pull their head out of the sand. They will hate you for it. Anyway, I'm off on a rant today. Now, there's a couple of other things. This is going to probably end up with a strike against my account, but I have to talk about it anyway. And that is what's going on in the little blue country. They're all talking about, the hostages. They'll have to release all those hostages. Hamas has got all these hostages. Well, they pretty much released all the hostages. Yeah, some of them had passed on. But nobody talks about the Israeli hostages because as far as Israel is concerned, they're not hostages at all. They're prisoners. Yeah, prisoners. They committed a crime, and we're going to hold them. Well, how many prisoners, I say that they're hostages because many of them are children, 10, 11, 12 years old. So how many hostages is Israel holding? Well, it's really hard to know because they don't tell you. There are estimates anywhere between 4,000 and over 9,000 hostages still being held in blue country, blue nation, whatever. But you know what's going on with those hostages? Listen up.
So it appears Israel have resumed the harvesting of Palestinian organs.
Whoa. Harvesting of Palestinian organs? Listen to this.
A British Palestinian surgeon, somebody who can not be labelled a Hamas member, has spoken out about the photographs he has received of cadavers that were handed over by Israel. And he notes that it appears highly indicative that there has been organ harvesting occurring. He has said that the bodies show clearly surgically removed lungs, hearts, kidneys and livers done in a professional surgical way using specialized tools with zero damage to surrounding tissues. All of these bodies also belonged to Palestinians who had, of course, been imprisoned while they were alive, which is one of the hallmarks of organ harvesting. Israel, as we know, have form on this. Government officials in the past have admitted that Israel have harvested the skin, corneas, heart valves and bones of Palestinians right up until the year 2000. So to turn around and say that it all started on October 7 is, a libel in itself. But I'd suspect the argument here is that Palestinian organs were perhaps promised to the Israelis by God 3,000 years ago. There's no other way to say it. It is indisputable that this is another indictment on Israel that proves they are simply evil. You have to remember that it is alleged that during the Holocaust there were all kinds of human experiments perpetrated by the Nazis, all kinds of organ harvesting and all of that. So it's so ironic that not only are the Israelis now committing a genocide against Palestinians, they are going the whole way to the levels of depravity that the Nazis did.
Mm-hmm. Of course, they say, they were doing that up until, the mid-2000s, but they stopped doing that. Oh, really? Let's see, here's another clip on that particular subject. Okay, it's in Hebrew, or whatever, and the translation is, we do not touch soldiers' bodies. We take organs from the others. From who is the question? She says they used to take organs from the bodies of Palestinians, and then the immigrants and foreign workers. In this skin bank, big compared to the rest of the world, they said yes. I mean, see, what is the organ donation rate given the population of Israel? She says, why are you laughing? Because this is quite a peculiar question. I can't give an answer. The rate is very low. Okay, I had to stop. The translation is going too quickly for me. But they're basically admitting that they're doing it. They've been doing this for a long, long time. And there's a Palestinian that addressed this particular issue as well. And by the way, Israel has now made it into the Guinness Book of World Records for kidney donations. How did that happen?
I need to speak my mind on this. I just cannot stay quiet. Guinness World Records just gave Israel a world record on the most kidney donations. Are you letting that process in your head? Are you realizing what world we live in right now? They watched it happen. The whole world saw it happen, witnessed it happen, live television. They gave them a world record for most kidney donations. And they put it donations.
Donations, right.
They watched it happen. They harvested Palestinian organs. They returned bodies to their families empty. And you gave them a Guinness record for that bullshit?
Oops.
Is that how sick society we live in right now?
Yes, it is.
Containers filled with bodies returned to their families, emptied, harvested. And I'm yelling because this is the only way I can release this energy, because we live in a sick society to a point we're letting it happen. Not only let it happen, we witness it happen, and hey, now they got a record for it.
Mm-hmm. Yep, Guinness Book of World Records. Now, I just don't understand how our elected officials can ignore this. I just don't. And maybe, just maybe, it has to do with
bribery, coercion, blackmail.
Yeah, maybe that's got something to do with it. And when I go back to the business that I was referring to earlier in this broadcast, with 1,000 employees, but 20 of them seem to be favored. And 20 of them seem to be given all of the perks and the bennies and et cetera, et cetera. And the remaining 980 employees have to suck it up. Wow, and again, I didn't even promote anything. I don't know. That'll show you exactly how much I'm in it for the money, right? Well, we do have to pay some bills, so please, if you're out there listening, you appreciate the broadcast, visit our website, TheWTFReports.com, click on the sponsors page, and do business with our sponsors. Get More Tank is a great product, and I wouldn't support it if it wasn't. Same thing with the Wave Watch. And by the way, if you're feeling extra generous, you can make a donation. We've got the WTF Reports t-shirts, coffee mugs, and baseball caps. So do some business with us. Help us out. Keep the lights on. That said, wow, this hour went by quickly. I hope you're enjoying the broadcast, and I hope you'll spread the word. Click like, share, subscribe, and word of mouth is the best advertising. So tell your friends and family and co-workers to tune us in and hopefully get some smarts. Put things into perspective. That said, God bless you all. Stay safe, stay free, and I'll see you tomorrow.